It's a late edition of the Midnight Exchange. The reason it's late, Zach, do you want to tell them why we're recording so late?
Yeah, Mario's lazy. He just, I don't know. No, we were messing around with the website trying to figure some PHP stuff out, but WordPress sucks.
Did you figure it out, Zach?
No, WordPress blows.
Listeners, is it WordPress's fault or is it Zach's fault? Help me out here.
I'm going to check back on the comments of this actually, like in the future when we actually have comments. I have a gut feeling a lot of people are going to agree with me. WordPress is just terrible. It's not good. I hate it.
Most of the websites in the world use it.
Which is the saddest thing. But a lot of it is all just these like little chop shops that want to, we can make a website.
Holy
I know
crap.
what a website is. A website's a theme, right? No.
Wow.
I don't know what a website is.
Wow. You're really calling everybody out here.
I am calling everyone out. I come from the world of hand coded. I come from the world of building your own stuff.
Man, you're calling me out.
It hurts
here,
my soul. It hurts my
I
soul.
appreciate that.
All right, bro. So what you been up to, man? It's actually been 2 weeks.
2 weeks
since we last chatted.
Yeah.
Well, since we last recorded.
2 weeks because, well, I don't know why we didn't record last week. Last week was... What were you doing last week? Last week was your fault. It wasn't my fault.
Yeah, right. It was both.
No, it definitely was not my fault last week. I was ready to go last week.
It was your...
No. It was being dead serious. Like something came up for you last week.
Yeah. There's this company. And what happened was this company released an update to some of their software. Anyways, the name of the update was Catalina.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah, that's what it was.
All right.
So we both updated it. Mario, though, he did ride along with me. He did update it right before the podcast too. So we were both screwed because OBS doesn't work. So this week we're actually recording on GarageBand. At least I'm recording on GarageBand. I'm praying he's recording on GarageBand.
No, Zach actually told me to upgrade. I said, Zach, I don't know. It might mess up our whole recording setup. And he said, nah, don't worry about it. Apple never messes up with massive updates.
No, I never said that. They always screw everything up with big updates. What I said was, I don't think it's going to be the one application that we use to record, which is OBS, which seems like such a simple application. I was expecting things to be screwed up like Adobe XD and other things that I actually use daily. But at least I can pass that off to other people to do and to actually do work on. But this is the one thing that I actually needed to work in. It's the only thing that I have that doesn't work. So here we are.
Here we are on GarageBand, which has made me want to make some music on here. I mean, this is a pretty cool little application.
We still don't have a beat. So if you want to make a little lo-fi track,
I'll make it. I was working on something as soon as I turn this thing on. But
go for it, man.
I'm just kidding. But I will do it. So
do it.
What have I been up to? It's just been a week of. I had a shoot last week on Thursday. We had to do ended up being like enough content for 2 videos. So we're doing a promotion for a hospital charity event, and so they're raising money for the neonatal and pediatric intensive care units. Mm-hmm. So they're raising money for ventilators and for preemies and stuff like that. So it's a pretty incredible cause, and it's crazy. Yeah, it's
nice.
But that went well. And then other than that, a new client popped in and just prepared a couple of proposals and working on work as usual. So nothing too new.
Nice.
There was some news with the release of the PlayStation 5, though.
Yeah, man. I saw what did I sent you a link to something, and what I read was it was the confirmed design, but you thankfully informed me that it wasn't somehow. What was it that I was looking at?
Apparently, Mario? It's the dev kit, and it has a unique design to it. Now, don't get me wrong.
What is the dev kit?
A dev kit is essentially they hand out a version of the console to game developers beforehand so that they can create their games to be applicable for that platform. So,
and you don't think that's what it's actually going to look like?
No, I don't think that's what it's going to look like. Look up the PS4 dev kit. You'll see it looks nothing like the original.
Okay, I'll look it up. I hope not, because that thing was butt ugly. I would never put that in my app or anywhere.
I don't hate it. Even if it was. The only thing I don't like is the letters up front, like the Let's Go Digital thing and the SSD drive sign. Like, get that crap out of my face. But the actual event setup, I'm cool with it. Just depends. Honestly, depends. My friend Reggie said it's going to be an infestation of roaches, but he's also an Xbox diehard little fanboy. So he wouldn't know a good video game if it bit him in the ass. But he's like still living off the success of Halo, like every other Xbox.
Of course, Xbox.
But I love it.
Listen, the only good Xbox was the 360, and even that was just full of crazy people.
Yeah, he's the only person I've ever met who actually no. There's a couple people I've met who were like, the game Last of Us. Well, then again, you haven't played it. You're not really.
I haven't played it
that big into playing.
I'm not, games. But yeah, I had a question for you, but I'll wait till you finish what you're saying.
It makes me what?
Nothing. I have a question for you, but I'm gonna wait till you finish what you're saying. Well, I was just gonna ask. So next year, when the PS5 comes out, are you gonna get the new PlayStation and the new Xbox, or just the new PlayStation? No,
just the PlayStation. I won't. I mean, It would have to be something spectacular on the Xbox, or some sort of game coming out that it's like, only Xbox.
It just warrants the extra like $200.
There's only pretty much two games that would do that to me. Like if Cyberpunk tomorrow was like, we're only releasing on Xbox, then I'd have to buy an Xbox. Or if and that's Cyberpunk 2077 for those you don't know. Or if Bethesda was like, we're going to make all of our games Microsoft exclusive, which would never happen. But I'm just saying it's literally the only way that I would buy an Xbox, pretty much.
Yeah.
Or Sony would just have to like really
butcher everything.
They would have to like the quality of their games would have to drop so tremendously, which it doesn't seem to be. So
yeah, I doubt it. Speaking of Sony, and I know I'm not into games that much, but I have seen a few things about the console recently, and not so much the console as the accessories. So I guess you would call it accessories. So I'll consider the controller an accessory to the console. Have you seen anything about all the haptic feedback things that they're going to be building into those controllers, and not pressure sensitivity, but resistance that they're going to be building into the triggers?
Yeah, I heard something about that they're getting rid of the vibration.
It's no longer just a vibration. Yeah. It's haptic feedback, similar to what you have on like the Apple Watch or the iPhone, and it's programmable. So depending on what's going on the controller, it's very, very, very controlled. No pun intended.
I think that'll open up a lot of different unique gameplay mechanics. So,
dude, it's crazy.
It'll allow it. I mean, especially the pressure one. I mean, that'll control how.
Oh yeah.
I can control a lot of different things, to be honest.
But think about that. You have resistance. That's not only gonna let games look like something, but it's gonna let the controller feel like something as well. Like when you pick up a controller and you go and you play when you pick up the controller and you go play Call of Duty. If you compare that to playing something like a racing game, the controller itself is going to feel completely different. That's crazy.
I wonder what it's going to be. I mean, I'm hyped, to be honest. I remember being a little kid and like you would have to make a business decision because your parents are only, unless you're like one of these little rich kids who their parents bought them all 3 consoles. I was never one of those kids. I would get one console. And you would have to make a straight up educated business decision on which console that was going to be because you knew that was going to be your console for like the next 5 years. And so they released another one. And so every year you just have to draw up the research. I remember so I started as a PS1 guy and then N64. So you got both. When you were younger, you got a little bit more spoiled. But then the PS2 came out, and
my first console.
PS2 was phenomenal. But then I started doing my research on the PS3, and I was like, these games are weak, Sony. Your releases are weak. And so I moved over to the Xbox. That's when I broke my allegiance. But and Xbox 360 was phenomenal. And
dude, it was. That was my second console. The first one I bought. Second console. Go ahead.
The PS2. I think I bought the PS2 myself. I saved up money and bought it. The Xbox 360. Everything else was a gift until the PS4. It's really late for this midnight exchange. You might have to cut out.
It is. I'm gonna leave that yawn. No, I'm gonna leave that yawn in. Sorry,
y'all. So I'm gonna put myself to sleep pretty soon if I keep it up. God, now I lost my train of thought. Anyways, Xbox let me down. Like 3 of them broke with the red rings of death and some other issues.
Ooh.
But after that, I switched back my allegiances to Sony, and I don't see it changing for the PS5. So
okay,
yeah, man.
I'm gonna make a commitment. I'm gonna buy the PS5. Speaking of the red ring of death for the Xbox, you can fix that, right?
Depends which one you got. Depends. Mine was not the one that
if you got fix. That old white one, man, was the ones you could fix. Did you get the white one?
I had a white one.
That's the one that I actually. So my cousin had the Xbox. I guess it was the Xbox 360, whatever, the white Xbox, and it got the red ring of death, and he ended up getting the new black Xbox 360. So I bought that one off of him with the red ring of death, and I fixed that. All you had to do was open it up and throw a few pennies on the heatsink, and that was it.
A couple of what?
Pennies.
Throw a couple pennies in there?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Onto the heatsink. You had the problem was it was overheating and there was some other. I mean, there's other reasons why that worked. Pennies? But yeah, man, I took pennies and I added it to the heatsink because the copper in a penny, it absorbs that heat and it absorbs it really quick. So adding that little bit of extra heatsink, if you will, to the heatsink, fixed it. Literally, like that's what I did. I bought an Xbox 360 with the red ring of death for like extremely cheap, and I fixed it myself.
And you
put a couple of pennies on it, and then it works.
It never gave you issues.
No. Okay, so the reason I got the black Xbox 360, I was in Pennsylvania. I don't know what happened, man. It was around Christmas, and I was really young. But I was playing up there. I was playing all night, and man, I want to say it was literally like Christmas Eve because I bought the black Xbox 360 like the day after Christmas. So, anyways, what happened was the actual disc reader, something got messed up in there, man, and it ate my disc. Like it literally scratched the living crap out of that disc. Yeah. And I was just like, really, and it was on a game I just got the night before too. I was like, really? So I went to Target the next day, bought the black Xbox 360 for 50% off up in Pennsylvania, where there's not really many people, and got that. I mean, like I said, I got that 50% off, and then I ended up rebuying the same game and then played that for the rest of the time I was there.
All right, I mean,
good stories.
I was gonna say. The 2 penny trick is a pretty good idea. I mean, not only do you fix your Xbox, but the value of it goes up by 2 cents. So
exactly,
not a bad investment there. So Christopher Columbus. I want to just hop to this because the level of wokeness on my stories today about Indigenous Peoples Day and F Christopher Columbus and this, that.
I'm looking up your stories right now.
You're looking up Christopher Columbus, or are you looking up?
No, I'm looking up your stories. Keep going.
Oh, not my story. I didn't put it on mine.
I was like, when did you put F Christopher Columbus?
No, it was some other woke people on my who are on my feed, and I'm like, when did all this Christopher Columbus hate happen? When did this happen? Where we have such a like nowadays, we just want to completely forget about, I don't know if it's forget about history is the right term, but it's like, we don't want to accept the good with the bad or the bad with the good. Like there's some sort of butterfly effect to the things that he did, and they want to like discredit everything that he did. I don't know enough about Christopher Columbus, but it just seems like that typical, I don't know, this typical like left agenda to discredit and look for dirt on everything. And I'm going to do some research right now on why all the hate towards Christopher Columbus.
Well,
the thing is bad things.
They want to brainwash everybody, so they want to rewrite history to be their own history.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they have some sort of points about Christopher Columbus that it's like, all right, how Christopher Columbus became a hate figure. I'm sure they have points. I just don't think it's to the extent of their point is enough to completely destroy him. Like, yeah, Leif Erikson discovered America first, but he didn't really do anything with it. You know what I mean? And to the Europeans, Columbus would have been, in their eyes, the first person to do it, because we only know about Leif Erikson through Viking history. So, I mean,
I actually only know of Leif Erikson through that Handlebar song. you know the song I'm talking about?
No.
Oh shoot, what was it?
Stop genocide, racism.
Oh man.
Oh my God.
I'm going to put the link to this song in the description if I can remember that. Or if I can find it, I should say. I'm going to write this down right now while you're looking stuff up.
Okay, we know he wasn't the first to cross the Atlantic. I'm cool with that. That's fine. This holiday is seen as a celebration of colonialism and offensive to the continent's indigenous people. Some claim he was responsible for murder and enslavement and was a brutal viceroy and a governor of the viceroy or viceroy. I never know. Governor of the territories under his control, all of which explain why people using the Columbus Day hashtag. Okay, anti-Columbus Day messages are by no means the only ones being sent. Some are using it to share inspirational messages. You can never cross the ocean until you have the courage to lose sight of the shore. Okay, great. Okay. Doing some very quick research. Let me see something. Murder and enslavement. Let's click this link. See, this is what I know a little about, which is cool. I'm absolutely fine with talking about, like, I'm okay with putting like a black mark on Columbus and saying, all right, he did some bad stuff. Okay, I'm cool with that. But it's going to be Indigenous Peoples Day? Like, no offense, but I just don't see it. Don't see it. I'm trying to think of some other days that have some people's names on it that aren't great. My whole point is that human beings are generally messed up. Well, they're all messed up. So, I mean, if we all had the rigors of somebody looking and microscopically looking into us, then it wouldn't go so well. But let me not take it to the extreme point of everybody being guilty of holding slaves and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was about to say, everybody listening to this is probably like, what the
No, I'm just like not scared to talk about it. I just don't understand the absolute hatred of Columbus.
No, I know. It's I think it's kind of crazy to completely villainize somebody like that.
I mean,
like, well, I mean, I honestly really don't know what the conversations are right now about Columbus. I haven't really, cared to look anything up for the past 15 years.
The last podcast we talked about this book that I read, which is called Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. And he talks about his great grandfather, who I think he mentioned his great grandfather bought his great grandmother and married her. So he bought her off of, a slave block. I mean, he bought her off, an auction. I don't know. But he talks about how he struggled with coming to grips with that. But then he thought about it and he said, if my great grandfather would have never done that, I wouldn't be here. And so he's like, it's a butterfly effect of like, yeah, this terrible thing happened, but then look at all the good that happened, 80 years later, or however many years. I'm just putting a number on it. It's kind of just like, I don't think we should have this radical approach of, F Christopher Columbus and, F all sort of Southern history. And, okay, it's there's some really terrible things about it, but you should remember it and you should know where we come from and, take the good with the bad and the bad with the good, vice versa.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody puts it as such a like we revel in Christopher Columbus or anything like that. I think there was an act of bravery of crossing the sea. I mean, we make it seem like crossing the sea at that point was something great. People didn't even know the earth was round at that point. I don't think they did. I think it was like at that point they still thought it was flat.
They thought it was flat, yeah.
I'm not sure on what year they discovered that, but I mean, it's a pretty big deal. So yeah, it gets a little bit annoying already with this stuff. With this, everybody has this like it's just popular. It's just a popular opinion to have now. Like people don't really decide to read into anything for themselves.
Yeah.
But I know you. I know you're one of the people on my story who did that. So
I haven't even been on social media. I literally was at work till 8:30 tonight. I haven't seen anything. I don't even know what you put on there.
I didn't put anything. I put a post about some chicken. That's about it.
Of course.
Chicken was cooking up in the kitchen.
Killing me.
They just I saw a couple funny things today. I saw first of all right, so ABC News accidentally put up a footage from a Kentucky gun range apparently. And they thought it was live footage of Turkey like going after the Kurds. And at first I was like, how could ABC mess up so bad? But then I looked at the footage and I'm like, what the hell kind of shooting range looks like this? And if you look at this footage, it literally looks like World War III is occurring. I'm like, what part of Kentucky are they firing like tracer rounds? Like, I'm telling you, you got to go on Twitter right now and see this clip. It's absurd. I would have thought this was literally the middle of, Afghanistan at the start of like the Gulf War or something. Like, I don't maliciously blame ABC News for messing up on this. I'm sure somebody was like, this is Turkey, I swear. And they were like, all right, it's Turkey. Look at this thing. It definitely can't be the United States. It says ABC News apologized Monday for mistakenly running a video that apparently was taken at a gun range in Kentucky. What kind of gun range has explosions like this? And I guess the easy answer is a gun range in Kentucky. But geez.
Is there like a ton of explosions going on too?
It's a ton of explosions. I don't understand.
That's what I'm looking at right now.
Oh, it was a military show. A Kentucky military show.
Come on, man. You got a military show and you're going to say that's Turkey?
This looks like the military show that Tony Stark does in Iron Man 1 when he's like looking at the edge of the cliff.
Good. It wasn't Kentucky. It was Kentucky.
Kentucky. Close. You're probably right about that. Oh, man. Hey, another sporting news. I was watching.
Yes.
You've been watching the Heat? Have you been watching some NBA basketball lately?
No, I haven't. Tell me about it. What's up?
The Heat got a gem. The Miami Heat.
Who?
Drafted. We found a hero. Let's put it that way. Okay.
Okay.
But he scored 23 points today. His name's Tyler Herro, 19 years old, rookie. I'm not going to lie. When we drafted him,
okay,
I watched a little college basketball, so I just saw Tyler Herro and I was like, no way. We just drafted this guy. I've never heard of him. There was a couple players on the board that I had heard more hype about than Tyler Herro. And then they put the reel on and I was like, oh, he can ball. He's not just a typical shooter out here. Nope. He's looking like if Zion Williamson wasn't in this rookie class, which if you don't know who he is, he's literally like,
I know who he is.
He's essentially, I think, the most dominant physical beast since LeBron and Shaq. But Tyler Herro is probably going to be second in Rookie of the Year votes. Like, he looks that good. I mean, he has made teams look silly. So much so that now they've put him in the starting unit. And the third preseason game is one where the coaches start already, solidifying what their rotations are going to be. And so they have him pretty much as a featured scorer out there. I'm hyped, man. You know me. I'm an NBA junkie. So next week, if we get,
I know you are. You're gonna have to fill me out on everything because I'm not.
I'm telling you, you've got to become an NBA fan this year. If it doesn't happen this year,
if I'm gonna watch basketball though, I watch the NCAA.
Yeah, March Madness is great. It is, but
exactly,
I prefer the NBA. I used to say I love March Madness, but yeah, it depends.
I like to watch a lot of young guns running around on stage. Well, on the court with a ton of energy.
Well, the NBA has a lot of young players. I mean, like I said, Tyler Herro's 19, for goodness sake. Like, he's going to be in the league 2 years and not be able to have a beer legally. Like, that's crazy.
That's kind of nuts.
Right? Isn't that crazy?
The fact that you could probably buy a bar, buy whatever you would buy the alcohol from and still not be able to purchase it.
He could literally he could literally open up his own bar and he can't purchase. Yeah, he can't get into a club.
Couldn't give himself one.
Nope.
That's hilarious.
Literally making $10 million a year or whatever he's making. And yeah, it's crazy.
Speaking of the NBA, actually, the reason I was at work late tonight was because of I was listening to a pitch basically, and the idea revolves around. See, I have to be very careful with what I say. I have to be very vague here. So the idea revolves around the NBA, but it also revolves around, college basketball and making the transition between college basketball. Well, I should say successfully making the transition between college basketball and getting drafted in the NBA. So it was interesting. And I'll have to tell you more about that offline. I just can't say anything on here about it.
I'm going to try to pull as much information off you now. What kind of transition are they talking about? Like, in what sense are they talking about transitioning more easily?
So when I say a successful transition, I mean there's a lot of people playing college basketball, but the problem is they're playing college basketball and they're getting their education, but they don't know where to go next. So how are you going to get them where they need to go? And I mean this probably sounds extremely vague, but
mentorship stuff.
Not even mentorship stuff. It's just like if your goal was solely to say, hey, you know what, I want to be a professional basketball player, but I'm playing in the NCAA or I'm playing wherever in whatever league. How do I get to who do I need to get in contact with to become or to get drafted into the NBA? So it's I don't want to say more than that, because if I start saying more than that and with the path I'm going down right now, I'm going to reveal too much information. But that's the gist of that's the gist of.
I can pivot. I can pivot that though. I mean, there's no doubt, and honestly, this kind of goes to a larger scale thing. Like, there should be ways. All right, so I have a theory, or I don't think it's a theory because I think it's proven. A college education generally isn't, unless you're getting into a specialized field, isn't the competitive advantage that it used to be. And so there should be a bridge from college to getting a job. And I know you might say it's an internship, but I really do think that there needs to be some sort of way to help students, to help all across society. So I'll make extreme points. I'll say there has to be a way to help kids transition into the quote unquote real world, the 9-to-5 world, the working full-time world.
All right.
Okay? There has to be a way to help people who've just kind of come out of jail. There's got to be a way to help them better, to help them get jobs. I think our prison should have trade schools. Our prison should have that. I'm not saying for the most violent criminals. I'm saying for the ones who freaking made a mistake, dude. And it would be beneficial. We do such a terrible job of helping people get up on their feet in this country. Like, I'm not saying like across the board we do, but in places where it seems like an easy fix, we don't do it enough.
Yeah.
It just seems like such an easy thing to do, or at least to put the proper people in place to do it. Done.
Yeah.
Off my soap.
I mean, you got to set people up for success, but the one thing you touched on was, helping people come out of education and getting into the workforce, I don't even think that the problem is necessarily the transition for the most part. I mean, you referenced, I might say internships. Internships can be great, but I think the problem is the education itself, to be completely honest. Like, if I want to work for a company, I want to know, what do I have to do to work for that company? I don't want to go to school and pay 20, 40, 80, $150,000 just to learn some generic bullshit, to be honest. I want to know, hey, I want to work for Google as this. What do I need to know to figure that out? Like, to get there? Like, that's what I want to know. And then that's what I want to be taught. I don't want to be paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to learn things that it may or it may not benefit me. And then have a crappy.
I'm not so opposed to the choice of going to college. What I am opposed, though, is I really did feel that my first and second year of college was just relearning and refreshing on things I learned in high school. For the most part, the intro Englishes, the intro maths, like those little classes you have to do in the beginning, like the BS classes.
Yeah.
Like, I honestly feel that I could have gone straight from high school, and not everybody can do this. So I just don't think you should wide swath, just brush over everybody and treat everybody the same. I think like at different, however much you're ready for is how much you should take on. You should stretch the student as much as they possibly can be stretched. So for me, like, it would have been more beneficial, in my opinion, to maybe, I would say, maybe not, let me not go extreme on 2 years of college, but 3 years of college, you know, remove that BS year of like the intros, like take me straight into classes that are going to prepare me for choosing my major, you know, but come up with something like that. And then, maybe 2 years of that, like, let me get my degree in 2 years. And then my last year be just straight up work study. But you have to place somewhere. And it could be a competition with whoever else is in your class for these top positions that you want to apply for. But for people like me who studied something and they ended up doing something completely different, I don't know how useful it would have been.
No. And I think the stupid thing is, if I am going to pay you an education system $1,000 plus per class.
Whoa! It's not 1,000.
Who are you to?
It's not 1,000.
It depends on where you go, man. It really depends on where you go. But if I'm going to pay you $1,000 plus, it could be less, depending on where you go, depending on what financial aid you may or may not have. Who are you to tell me what class I can't take? If I'm going to foot the bill, for $1,000,
it depends. I mean,
come on.
I had a misconception of. I thought you could just study whatever you wanted to in school. And I had a really terrible high school counselor. Like, she was just bad. Like, no offense. Actually, yes, offense. She was bad at her job. She was pushing everybody to go to a certain school. And she didn't let me know that I needed to apply to film school before I left my senior year of high school. I figured you would just sign up and study whatever you wanted to in school. And I always had good grades.
Yeah.
So I got accepted to FSU, and I was like, all right, I'm going to study film. And they were like, you can't just study film. You have to get accepted to the film program. And I was like, oh, okay. And like, all right, so I'll apply now as a freshman. He's like, oh, no, well, now you have to apply as a transfer. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Yeah. But the thing is, like, your chances of getting in now go from, I think it was like 25 students per class to 5 transfers. So like my chances went down significantly. Holy crap. So I did the first year, I didn't make it. And the second year I got to like top 5 or like top 15 or so. I got to like the final rounds, and the notifications didn't come through clearly to me. I guess they had like an old email, or they had called the house and nobody picked up, but just everything went wrong and I did not end up going to film school. I took a different route in order to get to having, work in production and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But not everybody gets that. I think we have to do a good job of stretching and offering enough things so that that kids can try a lot of different options to see what they like, what they don't like, and something like that.
Yeah. That's crazy, though. I don't know. There's a lot that needs to be improved in all of the upper education.
Seeing delete Facebook is now trending on Twitter.
Delete Facebook. Speaking of Facebook, actually, did you hear Mark Zuckerberg? Man, a lot has happened in like the past 2 weeks. Jeez. I haven't even talked about what I've been up to yet.
Recordings of Mark Zuckerberg?
Yeah. If what's her name? I cannot remember this woman's name. Elizabeth single time I try and say it. Not Susan Wojcicki. Who's the other woman? Who's the woman running for president?
Elizabeth Warren.
Elizabeth Warren. They said if Elizabeth Warren were to be elected president, that Facebook would sue the government. Did you hear that?
Yeah, because she wants to split up Facebook and WhatsApp and Instagram.
Well, she wants to split up every major company and then take people's money, like half of people's money. That's crazy.
Well, apparently
if you're a wealthy person, you're screwed.
I'm reading the tweets right now of why delete Facebook is trending, and it's trending because Zuckerberg has been secretly meeting with conservative leaders talking about free speech. So, but you know what, man? I don't care, because at the end of the day, Facebook was suppressing conservative news during the 2016 election. So,
yeah,
you know what? It's he's just playing whatever benefits him. He's meeting with conservative leaders because it benefits him now to meet with conservative leaders. He wants a conservative to be elected now. Why? Because his company's at risk of getting split up by an Elizabeth Warren, right? Mm-hmm. So it was like good for him in 2016 to be on that side, and then bad for him now. So it's pretty much, man, as it goes. People vote with their checkbooks. Bottom line, people vote with what suits them best.
It's whatever impacts them the most direct.
It seems to be.
Yeah,
in some ways.
It's craziness, though.
You know.
Anyways, on another note, back to the whole reason why we couldn't record last week. I also had to go out and buy a new preamp, or a mic pre, if you want to call it a mic pre or a preamp, whatever. So I went out and got that Scarlett. Is it the Scarlett? What is it? Yeah, the Focusrite Scarlett. It's very nice. I actually like it.
Has it changed your life?
Yes and no. So first of all, the reason I couldn't use the Pro Tools interface I had before was because the last time they released any firmware was in 2013. And now obviously it's still not up to date and it's running 32-bit, so it doesn't work. The Focusrite, I really, really, really like the Focusrite, but now it's about 2 months ago, I had bought like a really nice pair of headphones, man. And here's the biggest bummer. Everything going into the Focusrite sounds incredible. Everything coming out of the Focusrite, this thing can barely provide me the power that I need it to provide me to like listen to audio at a decent volume. Like I'm barely using my headphones to the point that they should be used. Mm-hmm. Like the amount of ohms that these headphones requires to have the drivers, push at full force, this thing just can't put out. So I've got to get like a booster to put in between there. If I can even do that, it's probably going to have to be powered externally, which is crazy.
You're going to be one of these people that when you have like your whole office set up, your whole office is going to be like next level, all of the best of the best, and everything handcrafted. It's gonna be,
bro,
straight up.
It's
gonna be like a whole cabinet of whiskey. Yeah.
Bro, talking about cabinets and talking about technology and high-end stuff.
We'll record in studio.
Oh, at that point we're recording at my place. Which, by the way, I went to look at a place this weekend. Man, again, a lot of stuff happened this past week and a half, 2 weeks.
All Sunday,
I went to go look at a place.
I'll let you finish, but all Sunday I was looking around for places as well. So go ahead.
Dude, it's crazy. No, I went to that place that I told you about on Saturday, And I mean, I got the paperwork and everything. I'm going to apply. But the thing is they did not have anything available. And they didn't know if they were going to have anything available until, well, I've got to call back this week to see if there's anything potentially available in December. Otherwise, it may be January, because I have to wait for somebody to not renew their lease, or I have to wait for somebody to break their lease. But anyways, I didn't get a chance to tour the place, but I got to see the offices, the facilities, and everything else around there. It's really, really, really nice. So I'm going to apply and get on the wait list. But anyways, if I do get that place, I was looking at getting a media console, which for those of you who don't know, this is like a classic, like 1960s style media console, handcrafted wood, made to order from LA, and it's dope. It's got like a built-in record player, like high-end record player. A high-end record player could easily cost you $700 on the low side of a high-end record player. And you know, all of the amps it's got a really nice amp. The capacitors are nice as well, but that thing, I had to request a price for that thing. That thing is crazy.
So
guess how much it is?
The record player is inside of this thing?
Yeah, it's built into a media cabinet. I'll send you some photos after. Guess how much it is
right now, so I can have a reference. What the hell are you talking about?
All right, let me send it to you right now, because it's okay. So the price is not listed on their website, so you have a free chance to guess here while it's loading up for me. Give it a minute.
Yeah, give me a second. Yeah, I'm deleting my Facebook. I can't believe this guy's meeting with
Deleting your Facebook. Killing me, man. Come on. Okay, all right. Here, type in iamluno.com. So iamluno.com. And then the actual model I'm trying to look at, which for whatever reason is not loading for me right now, is the EGB2. Okay. This thing. Yeah, I don't know why it's not loading. There's got to be some issue or something right now.
On a digital trends instead. Oh, that's nice. It's like Mad Men-esque.
Dude, yeah, I know, right?
Mad Men-esque.
And this is the third time I've heard Mad Men referenced in my day today. It must be a sign.
No, this is completely Mad Men. This is Don's.
This is
Don's bachelor pad in Manhattan.
That is literally what I'm going to buy it at some
point.
Even
has a
but
speaker.
It's incredible. Yeah, man. Built-in speakers, amplifier, record player, capacitors. That's what I'm having you guess.
It's got to be damn expensive. Oh, dude, I Am Luno expired. This domain name expired on 10/7/2019. That's no good.
Well, I guess they just didn't update their SSL certificate or something. Because I literally just spoke to them the other day.
I got prices for you though. The included turntable is a project debut Carbon, which just happens to be top of our list of the best turntables under $500. There's no way the thing has to be more than $500. Added info from Luno, which hasn't yet disclosed pricing, but gave 8 to 10 weeks order time estimate. That thing's easily got to be about $5,000.
I freaking wish it was. The model I'm looking at, the EGB2, they got back to me. It's $9,995 plus $200 to add AirPlay into it.
Not surprised.
That's insane, man.
To add AirPlay?
It includes the cabinet. Yeah. The cabinet, the turntable, the speakers, the amp, the sub, the wireless connectivity, and a groove washer kit, authenticity certificate, and it actually comes with. It does have a whiskey cabinet in there, which is.
Dude, don't worry about it. I'll find you a guy in Hialeah that'll do it for $950. Telling you.
If you 9,000.
No, $950.
50 bucks. If you can find somebody that can make that for me for $950, I will pay them $2,000.
I'll make it for you for $950. Pay me the money up front.
if you can make it look like that with all, bro, you wouldn't be able to buy all of the equipment, like just the hardware to put into that thing for that much. Honestly,
I would just
it's really nice.
I would just put an old radio behind the wooden cabinet. Make 4 holes.
Just put some piece of junk back there. Hey, it sounds good, doesn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, no.
I'm not gonna lie though, the record
that's great.
storage looks a little bit tight.
It does, but I don't have too many right now anyways. And if I had a lot extra, I could just put it somewhere else.
I've got a ton of records, bro.
Really?
I don't know if you knew that about me.
Do you have a player? My parents had literally like 10,000 records, and I was born and they threw them away. And then I grew up and I was like, I like records. And they're like, crap, we threw them all away.
10,000?
And it was all classic rock and good records,
bro,
man.
They freaking
was a
threw
lot
away
of
an
stuff.
inheritance right there.
Dude, it was like insane.
Dude, luckily, my mom doesn't throw like anything away. So,
that can be good and can be bad.
No, she's not like a hoarder or anything like that. But the things that you'd want to keep, like, I get upset with my pops. I'm like, why didn't you keep any of your old clothes? I would have worn the crap out of some of those vintage 70s and 80s attire. But
that's the next note I'm gonna hit on right now.
Anyways, they saved a bunch of records, so I have a good bit. I don't have 10,000, but
no, neither do I. I have like 10.
I've got a whole big storage bin full of records.
All right.
But not so much
I literally
classic rock.
can count
I got a lot of disco up in there.
Disco.
Yo, I love me some disco, bro. You gotta appreciate the disco.
I've never really I don't hate disco. Yeah, but I've never really gotten into disco. I
don't think disco is like a. No offense, Zach. I don't think it's a white thing. I don't think it's a white person thing.
Dude, my dad, legit. I'm white. I mean, my dad's from Georgia. My mom's from Pennsylvania. My dad, man, used to be into disco like nobody's business. All right, he was at every club dancing. I hate dancing. I completely hate dancing. But dude, he would love to go to some jazz club or somewhere and dance to disco.
Man, it's crazy. We should have your dad as a guest on this podcast.
Maybe one day. Oh man, that would be funny. Speaking of, what did you say? 70s or just old timers attire? I just went to a store tonight after I got off work because I want to buy a couple suits. Get a couple nice new suits and like a sports coat. So I went to a store and looked at everything, and it's super nice. And since today is Columbus Day, which ties into I think how we started this podcast off. They've actually got an incredible sale on right now. It's 50% off everything, but it ended. Yeah, a Columbus Day sale. So thank you, Columbus, for the sale.
Wow.
Anyways, everything was 50% off, and I was like, okay. I'm like, I don't really have time to try on everything right now because you close in 20 minutes.
Did you, as you were at the checkout line, did you tell them after you purchased it, you were like, and by the way, I'm incredibly offended that you would celebrate the murder and pillaging and enslavement of indigenous peoples with this 50% discount, but I thank you for it nonetheless.
No, I didn't buy anything yet tonight. Luckily, the guy there was like, hey, you know what? Since you're just checking things out right now, what I'm going to do is I'll write down this deal on my business card right now, and you can come back whenever and I'll honor whatever the current deal is going on. So literally, I'm going to go back in 2 weeks and pick out 2 really nice suits with a sports coat, 50% off everything, but then I'll also get an additional deal for the sports coat and the second suit, and all the alterations are free for a custom fitted suit. Dang, that's crazy.
Okay, you'd be looking like James Bond out here.
I don't know, maybe not James Bond.
You gotta get
James Bond's a little too cool. I gotta get a pipe.
Savile Road coat. You gotta get the Oxford cut.
The Oxford cut. I'm looking at a couple of things. I'm looking at a tie. I might buy a pocket square just to have one.
Don't go too big, man.
Oh no! You gotta get a tiny one.
I'm messing around. It's making fun of you. You're saying I'm getting a coat, and then you're like, I might get a tie. I might get a pocket kerchief.
Yeah. I gotta get a few things, but no, I was very impressed. So I'm excited to go back there and actually get those suits. It's gonna be my daily driver for a suit. That, and I gotta buy my new boots. A lot of fun stuff.
You look, my philosophy, one of my many philosophies. You always need something to look forward to.
Yeah. Whether that's sleeping or tomorrow or buying something in the future.
Absolutely, man. You gotta have something to look forward to. Got to. It's like a little carrot at the end of the treadmill.
Yeah, for sure. Hey,
what's up?
Did you get the new iPhone?
No. Did you?
You know who did?
the guy who's gonna buy a $9,500
me. Hey, I'm not buying it right
cabinet.
now. Maybe in like 5 years.
You can buy that shit. You can buy it in IKEA for like.
Bro, I could buy my motorcycle for that.
You could buy one, put 2 holes in it, and buy 2 speakers, the record player on top, and spend less than that.
I thought about buying one and building my own, but man, the thing is the time I would invest into it, I would end up spending more money than that. Whether it's spending it monetarily or spending it in time, I would spend more on that.
To be honest, the
turntable alone is like $800, man.
The only way you could get a return for your money on that is if you become an alcoholic, because other than that, you wouldn't be using the cabinet enough to fulfill to actually completely take in the value of the entire cabinet. Honestly, yeah, no, it's just not. You're not gonna be able to get the full value out of it. Definitely not as much as like adding 2 pennies to an Xbox 360, like that kind of value.
Dude, come on. Hey, listen, that value is phenomenal, first of all. And second, the majority of this whole cabinet is open, and it's all the speakers and the subwoofers and the record and the record player. And you've got like, there's this tiny little cabinet that you can actually put something into. That's it.
You could like buy your place and just buy that cabinet and like just buy everything later. And it'll just be the cabinet in the apartment.
I don't know.
Hey Zach, you didn't. I mean, great place you got here. You didn't buy a bed. Oh,
you have a couch? No, but I got that over there.
EGB2 Luno 5000 over there. Look at that. You want a glass of whiskey? Zach, I'm already on my 3rd. I'm good, man. You sure you don't want another one, man? I think I'm good, man. Hey Susan, let's go.
It's hilarious.
No, what's wrong? The party's just getting started over here. Come on.
Who's Susan?
Yeah, it's your friend's wife.
Oh, my friend's wife. Okay.
They were coming over for the house christening. She brought a fruit cake. And
fruit cake.
I've never had a fruit cake, but it's always like the thing they would put like on the 90s sitcoms when the neighbors come over.
Like, I thought I ate a fruit cake at your place, didn't I?
Fruit cake.
Didn't your grandma make a fruit cake?
Publix or Costco, Christmas time.
Oh. Anyways, it is now
past.
It's now a solid 12:50.
It's way past the exchange.
Yeah, I know. We crossed that line, I think, 2 minutes before we started this.
Yeah. So I think that's going to conclude this week's episode. I enjoyed this out, and I'm literally falling asleep at the mic right now. Hopefully,
I feel you.
Hopefully, our listeners aren't falling asleep in their cars right now or wherever they listen to this.
Yeah, that would suck. If you're driving, stop listening.
Yeah. We're putting you to sleep.
You're going to hurt yourself. All right. Anyways, thanks for listening to this. Thank you for hearing about our past 2, well, now it seems like boring weeks, but whatever. I enjoyed my week. I hope you enjoyed your week. I hope y'all enjoyed your week. But anyways, if you want to find us on social media, you can search us on, what is it? You can search us on Twitter at THEME Podcast. Or you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at The Midnight Exchange.
Facebook right now and Instagram because
that's right. Don't look us up on Facebook and Instagram because we're going to delete our accounts. Yeah. No, they're gone. We deleted our accounts because Facebook's the devil. No. And you can email us at podcast at themidnightexchange.com or go to that domain, themidnightexchange.com. Boardwalk Empire.
I didn't even get to talk about it. I've been deep down in the binge. I think we're going to have to do another recording this week to make up for the crappy one.
Perhaps. Yes.
All right, yo.
All right. Bye.